Two powerful figures from the Bible stand at the center of one of history's most pivotal events, Jesus' crucifixion. But what happened to the men who orchestrated his death? Annas and Caiaphas, the Sadducees who played a major role in condemning Jesus, met tragic ends that resonate through time. How did they come to wield such power? And what became of them after their decisions led to the death of the Messiah? Stick with us to discover the shocking fate of these men and the lessons we can still learn from their story. If you're intrigued by this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any of our deep dives into history and scripture. To understand Annas and Caiaphas, we must first understand the world they inhabited. Palestine, during the time of Jesus, was under Roman occupation. Though the Romans controlled political matters, they allowed the Jewish religious leaders to manage day-to-day affairs, particularly when it came to the temple in Jerusalem. The temple wasn't just a spiritual center. It was the political and economic heart of Jewish life. The high priest had immense power, not only in religious matters, but in political decisions too. Annas and Caiaphas were Sadducees, a powerful sect of Judaism. The Sadducees were wealthy, politically connected, and closely aligned with the Roman authorities. This connection gave them significant control over the temple's activities and wealth. But their relationship with the Pharisees, who believed in resurrection and spiritual matters, was often tense. The Sadducees were seen as more secular, focused on maintaining the status quo with Rome, and that's where Annas and Caiaphas came in. Annas, appointed as high priest in 6 AD, was the first of his family to rise to this position. His rule was marked by his ability to maintain power through alliances with the Romans. However, his influence extended beyond his time as high priest. He established a family dynasty. His son-in-law, Caiaphas, took over as high priest in 18 AD, further solidifying the family's control over the temple and religious affairs. While Annas controlled the temple's wealth, including the lucrative business of currency exchange and animal sacrifices, Caiaphas was his political ally. Though Caiaphas was technically the high priest, Annas's influence never truly disappeared. Together, they held the reins of both religious and political power in Jerusalem. As Jesus' ministry began to gain traction, the power of Annas and Caiaphas was directly threatened. Jesus' radical teachings, which focused on a personal relationship with God rather than religious rituals, angered the religious authorities. His actions, like driving the money changers out of the temple, called out the corruption that Annas and Caiaphas benefited from. Jesus was challenging the very foundations of their power. Now, with Jesus' popularity growing, Annas and Caiaphas saw him as a danger. Not just spiritually, but politically. A revolt sparked by a charismatic leader like Jesus could mean disaster for their hold on power. And so, they decided that Jesus had to be silenced. Jesus was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, and the first stop on his journey to the cross was Annas's house. The high priest was supposed to be the one to ensure justice was done, but this trial was anything but just. Jesus was brought before Annas, who questioned him but found no reason for condemnation, so he sent Jesus to Caiaphas. Here, Caiaphas, acting as high priest, pressured Jesus for answers, hoping to find a reason to convict him. But Jesus, remaining silent or offering cryptic answers, did not provide the proof they were looking for. It was in this moment that Caiaphas famously said, "It is better for one man to die for the people than for the whole nation to perish." Caiaphas's words weren't just a political calculation, they were prophetic. Unbeknownst to him, he was declaring the very truth of Christ's mission, that Jesus would die for the sins of the world, not just for Israel. With no clear evidence but their own desire to maintain control, Annas and Caiaphas took their decision to the Roman authorities. They handed Jesus over to Pontius Pilate, knowing the only way to maintain their power was to have Jesus executed. The Roman governor, despite his doubts about Jesus' guilt, ultimately gave in to the pressure from the religious leaders. The decision was made: Jesus would be crucified. Annas and Caiaphas, with all their power and influence, ensured that the Messiah would meet a brutal death. They couldn't have known it then, but they were part of God's plan for redemption. After the crucifixion, Annas and Caiaphas' lives took tragic turns. Caiaphas continued to lead, but his role in the persecution of the early Christians eventually led to his downfall. He lost his position, and in 36 AD he was deposed and later killed in a revolt. Annas also met a grim end. He was reportedly struck by the weight of his decisions and died in disgrace, his family's influence shattered. Their tragic fates serve as a powerful reminder of the consequences of choices. Annas and Caiaphas may have thought they were securing their legacy, but their actions ultimately led to their disgrace. Their story challenges us to examine our own decisions and their long-term impact on others. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the shocking fates of Annas and Caiaphas. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and reflect on how we can live lives of integrity and faith. See you in the next video.